It's an all-out bidding war for transfer portal point guard Lamar Wilkerson.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Well, thank you so much. Happy Monday. Hope you had a fantastic weekend, whether you were watching baseball or the Masters or just trying to keep up with the transfer portal around college basketball. We're happy that you're here, and we got a lot to talk about today. At the end of the show, we'll talk about some fiery comments from head coach Curt Cignetti on the football side of things, where end of last week was not so great for the Indiana football team. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Plus, Indiana has another visitor for basketball on campus today. If you're watching this when it comes out or listening to this on Monday, a visitor here as we speak. But the big news was the visitor that was here over the weekend. It's Lamar Wilkerson, somebody that I jumped on early, we talked about early, and now everybody around the country wants him. Not everybody around the country, actually, but some of the biggest names in the sport are after Lamar Wilkerson. He was on campus this weekend. All signs point to it went very well. And you hear that all the time, right? Oh, the visit went well. He had a good time. They rolled out the red carpet for him, right? You hear that all the time. But I do think, from what I've been able to see, that Indiana did a good job. But what we know about the top 15 scorer from a year ago in all of college basketball is that he wants to take all of his visits. That has been made very, very clear, that Lamar Wilkerson wants to make all of his visits before he makes a decision. And at this point, given the teams that are involved here, I'm safe to say it's an all-out bidding war. Who wants to pay up? Who wants to pony up, write the check, and go get this guy? And whether you think it's worth it or not, that's your decision. That is totally your opinion, right? And that's kind of where Indiana's trying to figure out where they are right now is, man, do we want to write that amount of money for a guy who's really good, but isn't going to be playing for us very long? Could he help us win right now? Yeah, he absolutely could. A reminder on what the Lamar Wilkerson senior season looked like: 20.5 points, 4 rebounds a game, 2 assists, shot 48% from the field, and from the three-point line, shot it at 44.5%. Yes, that is what Lamar Wilkerson did this past season at Sam Houston. He steps in as a fifth-year player to wherever he goes, and he's worth the money that you're trying to pay him. But right now, you're in a recruiting battle with yourselves. It's Indiana, Auburn, and Kentucky. That's who you're in on it with Mark Pope and Bruce Pearl down in the SEC. It's not going to be easy to win this type of a battle. And this is, as I've said several times now, talking about Lamar Wilkerson, this is Darren DeVries' really first opportunity to kind of show that Indiana is back, to kind of show that Indiana ain't fooling around. We're not messing around. We're not playing around. We're not here just to be in the conversations anymore. This isn't Mike Woodson anymore. This is Darren DeVries. This is the new era of Indiana basketball. And I'll say it, if it takes a little extra money to kind of get your status back up, maybe it's not the end of the world. Maybe you have to win this bidding war, this frenzy that we're in right now in college athletics, which, given the whole Nico stuff at Tennessee, that could all start to get peeled back a little bit, which I think is a good thing. But if you're Indiana right now, you're trying to get a really good player in Lamar Wilkerson who instantly makes your team better, who steps in and immediately becomes the best player on your roster. But if it also helps you kind of rebuild your brand a little bit and the outside perception of college basketball on Indiana, of other players, other coaches, high school kids, high school coaches, maybe it takes to land somebody like this. It's like, oh, wow, Good for Indiana. That's big time stuff. Then you can start to stack, right? We got another kid on campus today. We're going to talk about more names as the week goes on that are already starting to pile up for the Hoosiers. So that's what you are getting in a package deal with somebody like Lamar Wilkerson. It's not just about the stats that he brings on the floor. It's about the perception that he brings along with him. And that's what Darren DeVries has to be thinking about. It can't be the ultimate deciding factor. That can't be the only reason you go after him. And it's not, because as we've talked about, Wilkerson's really, really good. There's a reason Mark Pope wants him. There's a reason Bruce Pearl wants him coming off a Final Four where guards seem to thrive at Auburn right now. Same thing with Kentucky back in the day. Like, those are two high-level programs. One made a Sweet 16, the other made a Final Four, and Indiana just fired their coach last year, or they parted ways. He retired, whatever wordage you want to use. So we're behind on those programs. We're having to fight extra hard to make progress and an impact with Lamar Wilkerson, who is one of the best scorers in America. He's one of the best shooters in America. And he would be one of the best guards that Indiana has seen in a decade. A true guard, not your guard forward flex. I'm talking just a pure guard. He would be one of the best that Indiana has seen in the past decade. There's been some good ones. I'm just telling you, Lamar Wilkerson's the real deal. He was on campus this past weekend. He plans to take visits to those other places as well, and then he will make a decision. And I don't want you to be upset, Indiana fans, or stress out or flip out since he didn't commit when he was here, right? That's the big thing is, oh, get him on campus, he'll commit, and we don't even have to worry about the other visits, right? And that's always the goal. There's no doubt about it. That is always the goal, is to get them on campus and get them to commit right then and there to then, yeah, they don't even have to worry about it. They get to make the phone call and say, hey, Bruce, sorry, man, not going to make it down there today or this year. Sorry, man, I just committed to Indiana. Hey, Mark, so sorry, not coming there, or whoever, right? You hope that they make that decision and they don't even look at anywhere else. But Lamar Wilkerson has made it very, very known he wants to take those visits. And as of right now, he's going to. And then he will make his decision. Indiana got the first. You set the standard. He will now use your visit in comparison to everything else. The other two have to live up to that or exceed that for them to be in the running, other than the obvious, of course, which is the money aspect, which you get to a point if you're IU with any player, not just Wilkerson, where you have a number in your head. You have a number in your head on what you think his market value is, and you don't go over it unless you absolutely have to. And if the other schools bring in more money, then they bring in more money. And there's just not a whole lot you can do. Not saying Indiana can't afford it. I'm saying you have to be smart with your money. But this is one, if you are going to overspend, Lamar Wilkerson is the one to do it on. It's crazy the terminology we're using in college athletics right now, is it not? Is it not wild to think about? But it's true. And Lamar Wilkerson's the real deal. He was on campus this weekend. He'll make us other visits, and then he'll make a decision. I think Indiana's in a great spot, and this would be a huge stepping stone for Darren DeVries and Indiana basketball moving in to 2025. All right, coming up here on Locked On Hoosiers, more visitors for Indiana basketball, one including today. We'll talk about him coming up right after this on the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Monarch Money. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. It's all in one, right? That's what I love so much about Monarch is you have everything in one place. You can have your finances, track your spending and your long-term goals. You can plan all of that and do all of that in one place with Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off of your first year. All right, welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. As I grab my water, voice ain't working today, man. I don't know if it's the change in weather or if it's that time of year. Couldn't tell you. So we're hoping to get through this and get through this week as well. But we appreciate you being here on Locked On Hoosiers. And whether you're listening on audio, watching on video, however you take this in, man, the show continues to grow like crazy. So thank you so much for that. Cannot express how much fun we're having and just the content that we're able to put out. And again, I've mentioned hoping to be able to put out some more here soon, more than what we're normally doing, right? The Monday through Friday, every single day, free to you, by the way. So hoping to do some more of that. And if you're listening on audio, you know the drill. Spotify, Amazon, Apple, doesn't matter. Be sure that you are following us on there. Have those notifications turned on. Sending all of this to your family and friends, right? If they're Indiana fans, bring them here to Locked On Hoosiers. We want them to be a part of our community. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, like that video, gets it out there for more people to find it. Comment down below. Do you think Indiana can get Lamar Wilkerson? Do they have to pay the most money? Can they win in other ways? You let me know in the YouTube comments. Plus, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are growing like crazy. Updated number just for those of you interested, 5,428 as we speak. We're making a push for 5,500 subscribers, folks. That's insane to think about. We took over this show with 1,200 way back when. So thank you so much for doing that, and really, really do appreciate your support. All right, so another name that you need to know, and it's not just a hypothetical. This isn't one that I just found. This is somebody who's taking a visit right now. Came in Sunday evening, is here for the day on Monday. Another transfer portal target, another guard. He's a Sun Belt Player of the Year from Troy, is on campus right now for Indiana. Tayton Conerway. Yes, Tayton Conerway. Tayton. Tayton Conerway. He is the Sun Belt Player of the Year from Troy, the Trojans down in Alabama. 6'3". He's a guard who is a really good scorer, really good passer, and is a menace on the defensive side of the floor. Here's some of his numbers. Averaged nearly 14 points a game this past season, 5 assists per game. Also was a pretty good rebounder as well. Averaged almost 5 rebounds per game as a guard on the Troy Trojans. And then defensively, nearly 3 steals a game, which led the team and helped him become the Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year. So again, 14 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals per game for Tayton Conerway. Guy's a baller. Guy is a really solid player. 6'3" guard who is focused on driving the basketball. Shooting is fine, but he's definitely more of a, hey, give me the ball. Let me go make a play. Let me go get into the lane. Let me take a tougher two rather than step back and create a deeper shot. He can do it, but he wants to get to the rack. And when you're 6'3" and a guard and you can handle it like he can, yeah, that's exactly what you want him to do. And as you would expect with a guy that averages 3 steals a game, he gets a lot of his points in transition. Easy buckets, 1-on-nones, 2-on-1s. That's what he likes to do. It's also where his 5 assists a game come in as well, because that's just how that works. He's able to pick off passes. He's able to read the defense. He's able to pick their pocket, and then he pushes the ball down the floor. Sounds familiar, does it not? Sounds like something Darren DeVries has told us that he wants to do. But he also has told us that he wants to start everything on the defensive side of the floor. That's where a 6'3" menace defensive guard like Tayton Conerway comes in. And that is why he's on campus today. And so you start to imagine this just a little bit, right? You start to think about this in terms of what Indiana could be having on the roster, right? We're just thinking big picture here for a moment. You've got Tucker DeVries. You've got Connor Enright. You have Reed Bailey, who are all going to be on this roster as transfers. Yes, you have Trent Sisley as well, who is your high school recruit that's coming in. So that's 4. Let's say, just for fun, that you land Lamar Wilkerson. Let's say, just for fun, you land Tayton Conerway. All of a sudden, you've got really good guards. You're still looking for bigs, and that's going to be more on tomorrow's episode. But you have a great room of guards that you trust to be on the floor in any combination. And we'll use, for this conversation will use DeVries as a guard. I see him more as a small forward, but we'll throw him in here for just a second. That would give you Lamar Wilkerson, who would be a starter. That would give you Tucker DeVries, who would be a starter. That also would give you Tayton Conerway, who I think at the moment, if he were to step on this team, would be the starter. And then Connor Enright, who would also be fighting to be a starter. But at that moment, I think Connor Enright would then take a step back and probably be your 6th or 7th man. Nothing wrong with that. I just think Conerway gives you a little bit more defense, a little bit more size, and yeah, I'll say it, a little bit better scoring as well. I think he just does everything a little bit better than Connor Enright does. Now, there is a little bit of a difference. Enright was doing it at DePaul, which they're not good by any means, but they're a Power 5 school, versus playing at Troy down in the Sun Belt, who, hey, Troy made the tournament, man. Troy made the NCAA tournament. You can't say anything about that squad. They made the dance, and Indiana didn't. DePaul didn't. So, you can put that asterisk on him if you want to. I just think that Overton is a really, really good player, and I think he would fit this system perfectly for what Darren DeVries wants to do. He's not, again, your spot-up shooter who is going to run the floor, sit in the corner, and wait for the basketball. He's going to make the right cuts. He's going to make the right moves. He's going to get open and make the right play. You can tell that that's what Indiana's going after right now in the transfer portal is multifaceted guys. They're not going after just one-trick ponies. These aren't guys who, well, I can shoot. That's all I got. But you can count on me, coach, to make a shot. Well, no, I don't want you to just sit over there and wait for me to pass you the ball. I want you to do something. I want you to get open. I want you to set a down screen. I want you to play defense. I want you to run the floor. I want you to dive on loose balls. I want you to do the dirty work. Go grab a rebound. Overton does. He grabs 5 a game. That's what Darren DeVries wants on this team. And that's the trend you've seen with guys you've gotten in the transfer portal and the ones that you're going after as well. And so it was big time stuff that you had Lamar Wilkerson on campus this weekend. And it's not going to say bigger, but it's a big deal that you've got Overton on campus right now. Again, Conerway. Overton's a different player that we're going to talk about probably tomorrow. That's the Texas Tech kid. Apologies. Tayton Conerway is the Troy guard that Indiana is after. Again, Overton is a Texas Tech kid that Indiana is after, who entered the portal either Sunday or today on Monday. So that'll be more on tomorrow's episode. But Conerway, the Sun Belt Player of the Year, that's why you go after him. Again, 6'3", averaged 14 points a game, 5 assists, 4 steals, had 5 rebounds a game as well. I mean, this kid can do it all, and I think would fit this system very, very well. He is on campus right now. We'll see what he decides. If there's a decision while he's here, that's fantastic. But it's so iffy, too. We were just talking about this with Wilkerson. It's so iffy because you feel like these kids it's so quick, right? It's so immediate in the portal. They see somebody, they make a decision. Heck, Reed Bailey made a decision for Indiana and then took his visit. He committed and then came in this past weekend and was like, oh yeah, cool. I'm good. Everything's fine. I love it. Let's move on. It's like, okay, awesome. But then you have Lamar Wilkerson, who's like, nah, man, I need to take all my visits. I want to check it all out. That's the old school way of doing it. So maybe Conerway will kind of be right there in the middle. Maybe you get him on campus and maybe you get a commit out of him today or possibly tomorrow. So more updates. Again, Tayton Conerway, the Troy Trojans guard, Sun Belt Player of the Year, who is on campus right now for Indiana. Speaking of Overton, we'll talk about him tomorrow, plus a couple of big guys as well for the Hoosiers. That's going to be more on tomorrow's episode for basketball transfer portal stuff. But as we get to our final segment, we'll flip over to football as it's the final week of the spring season, the spring practice window for Indiana football. And Curt Cignetti's not too happy with his guys right now. We'll talk about what he had to say and how they can fix it in our final segment right here on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy to use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support on industry leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trademaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, so now it's your turn. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, if you use the promo code SH5 right now, you're going to get 5% off your first order. SH5 for 5% off your first order at supplyhouse.com. Final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Again, thank you so much for being here as we are flipping it over to the football side of things for the Hoosiers, as this is the final week of spring practice for Curt Cignetti and Indiana football. Had a closed scrimmage this past Saturday. They have the open scrimmage pre-spring game practice, something, whatever you want to call it nowadays. That's coming up this Thursday night inside of Memorial Stadium. And I say it that way because it's all different, right? It's all changed. We've seen all the stuff happening over the past several weekends of attendance is way down because the formats are different and there's just... Spring is not what it used to be. Let's just call it like it is. Spring practice is not what it used to be anymore for college football. And I hate that. I hate that spring isn't what it used to be because I really used to look forward to it. I think a lot of fans did look forward to spring practice. And now for you Indiana football fans who are now turning into football fans, right? It's disappointing because you don't have that to look forward to. And there are several coaches out there who don't even want spring practice to exist. They're like, yeah, screws up the calendar, give us a set of days. We can use them however we want, whenever we want, and then we'll prepare for the fall. I don't know, man. Something's going to change. Something's going to happen. But we're not here to talk about the calendar today. We're here to talk about the comments from head coach Curt Cignetti late last week on Thursday, where he was not happy with his team's performance in their practice that day. He said, leading up to this day, we've had good effort, good execution. I've been very, very pleased with what we've been doing on the field. Thursday, however, was not good. He said we used some X-rated language. He let them know very early and very often that he was not satisfied with the practicing that was going on. Some of the quotes that he was saying, he said, we just didn't have enough juice out there. There were too many coaches yelling to get going up to today. I think the practices, even though they're never perfect, the effort and energy has been great. He said, but today, quote, the message got sent on the field during practice. I didn't wait until after practice to send it. Sometimes it's a little X-rated message. And quote, he said, and here's another one just to add on to that, too much inconsistency across the board at all positions, whether it's a lack of detail, focused preparation, which leads to a breakdown in execution. He just talks about how he's upset with the team and how they're not taking advantage of the days that they have, right? Whether we like spring or not, whether you think spring is worth it or not, Curt Cignetti obviously thinks it is, and he still feels that it's a time to get better. You hear him talk so much about the opportunity to get better, and he has some quotes in here where he says it's a race to get better. You have to take advantage of the days that you have, and sounds like up to this point, Indiana's done a pretty good job with the guys you have coming back, your freshmen and your transfer portal additions. But Thursday was not that. And he was obviously disappointed in that and has high expectations for this team. And man, I can't express I can't tell you enough how big of a deal that is to have a coach like this, because let's be real, Indiana has never had a coach like this with the football program, one that has a standard so high it seems to be unattainable at times, seems to be out of reach. That's a good thing. That's how you're supposed to do it. And yeah, he said, I didn't wait till the end of practice to let them know I was disappointed. Absolutely not. I let them know right then and there, this is not how we're going to do things. This was a waste of a day. This was a bad practice. We are wasting time by not getting better. And that's what he has brought to Indiana. And that is why he made a playoff a year ago. That's why I think Indiana could be flirting with another playoff this coming year for the 2025 season. If the players work out and everything meshes together, then yeah, I think Indiana has the roster to do it. He's had quotes already this spring about his expectations for the offensive line and for the receiver room and Omar Cooper, like guys like that. I mean, he wants to win and he expects to win at Indiana. And so he's not going to let one bad practice, he's not going to let one bad egg ruin the whole dozen, but he's not going to let that bad egg be an ongoing thing. He's going to make sure that that doesn't happen again and that we continue to run smoothly, because this is it. This is your final week of practice. You've got the scrimmage or practice or spring game, again, whatever you want to call it, coming up on Thursday inside Memorial Stadium. That's Thursday night for fans to attend if you would like to. And then the spring portal window's here. Then you got to go get some dudes. You're going to lose some names. You're going to gain some names. You'll have summer workouts where you can't do practices, but the players will be hopefully getting together. And then boom, fall practice is here. Folks, we're halfway through April already. You've got the rest of April, then May, June, July, and then boom. That's 3.5 months, and August is here. Fall practice will begin, and the season will start in just a couple of weeks after that. So yeah, Cignetti's not going to let a practice like this get him down or get the team down, but he's not going to let this happen very often. And I think that just speaks to what he wants to do for this program and the assistants that he has on this staff. And so I'm not saying by any means you need to be stressed or worried that the team had a bad practice. Man, it happens all the time. This is sports. How many of you have played sports where you had a bad practice and you walk out of there saying, yeah, that wasn't our best, or you got ripped by the coach, or you had to run some more, you had to do whatever it was because the team just didn't show up that day? Been there, done that. I mean, it's part of sports. What you want to hear, though, is starting this week, Indiana bounces back with, man, we had our best practice today. This was the best practice we've had. This was the best week we've had. We are feeling good coming out of the spring. Like, that's what you want to hear, is the response from this team. Did Cignetti get the message across? I guess we'll see. They're back in practice this week, and then again, they'll wrap it up on Thursday. So excited to see some of the news from Indiana football. Got to get a little healthier as well. And then what happens with the portal? Who leaves? Who comes in? What does this team look like in, late May, when everything is shut down, when everything is done? What does this roster look like? Very, very fascinated to see how it turns out for Indiana football. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you getting your week started with us. If you are listening on audio, you know the drill. Like it and share it and send it around. Follow us, turn on those notifications, leave us a 5-star review. And if you're watching on YouTube, like the video, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to the channel, okay? We are back tomorrow, Hoosier fans, to continue the week. So until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.